I'd like to ask you about my children, if that's okay. I have 3 teachers. All these children that I have three, they have autism. I've listened to what you've said about it and it's been very helpful. I'm curious though, this is a curious question, so I hope you don't mind asking it. Those energies, are they that way because they haven't been in a human soul body before?
It is not anything about deficiency of any kind.
I
No.
wasn't suggesting it. I thought it was maybe a mismatch more than anything of vibrations.
Isn't that sort of a deficiency of some kind?
I guess they're more ahead is what I was thinking in vibration than the human bodies, maybe, I'm guessing.
Nothing less than perfection, but what it really comes down to is wanting to be received and perceived in their unchangeable form, because most of you are not allowed that advantage, because if you appear to be moldable, others mold you for their conditional appreciation. And it isn't until someone is not moldable that you even try a little bit to unconditionally accept them in their current perfection.
Yeah, so they taught me to meet them where they were, and that's a lovely lesson to learn.
To meet them where they are rather than
where they are, yeah.
Well, you said that, all right, but to meet them where they are rather than need them to be different. What adjustment do you think it required in you?
Appreciating there are other ways to look at things that make sense, even though it doesn't make sense to me or anyone else human. They're just seeing it a different way, and that's okay too. And it makes sense to them too.
And as you hold one or all of them in your mind's eye as we're visiting here, what's different in you relative to them as compared to you relative to others?
So I'm not sure if I know the question there. Can you say that
So
again?
let's say that there are 3 children who have come to visit you, who are by your physical standards normal, and you are aware of them, you're focused upon them, you're having an experience with them. Can you isolate or identify what's different when you are regarding other people as compared to when you are regarding your 3 special children?
For me, it is treating everybody as an individual, really. So it didn't matter to me.
So your children have taught you that?
They've taught me that, to just meet people wherever they're at and to try to understand them more than try to get them to fit in. And that can be hard because the rest of the humans don't really appreciate that all the time.
Well, the reason that we're asking this question is because it is our knowing that even though you have these 3 children who will not change their condition in order to assist with your alignment, that still with most other people you want that from them. In other words, it's only when they absolutely will not give it to you that you accept that. And we think that that's what you're here to predominantly talk about here in this moment and here in this experience, because if you can begin to notice the difference in your relationship with others, in other words, do people ever disappoint you?
Oh, sometimes. It depends whether I put an expectation on them.
So do you have expectations of most people that are different than the expectations that you have about your children?
Generically, yes. Specifically, I try not to because it leads to disappointment.
So does disappointment ever happen with you within relationships?
Oh, yes. Mastered that one.
What we're getting at is, would you say, are you more often disappointed with normal people or more often disappointed with your 3 special children?
Oh, look, I think disappointed is not even the right frame I'm using in that regard. It's really just trying to understand. When you talked about them in the past, you said these energies have come forth to have this experience. Really what I was curious about is whether they'd been here before.
Yes, with very different experiences, choosing this experience specifically. But there's something really important that we haven't gotten to yet, that we believe that you are on the brink of getting to, and that as you allow us to help you get there, everybody else is going to get there in a powerful way too.
Okay.
And so here is the basis of understanding that we're wanting you to find. We want you and everyone else to care about your relationship with your inner being primarily. And once you've accomplished that, so you've mastered step 4 and you are brilliant in step 5, in other words, you're in the receiving mode so that you're tuned in, tapped in, turned on the majority of the time. Once you are flowing like that, then the people of your world will not disappoint you. They will thrill you. You will embrace their diversity and their differences, because none of what they do will be a reflection upon you. You won't feel threatened about anything that any of them are doing. Whereas it stands in humanity, most people are threatened by what others are doing. That's why you need to put people in jail. That's why you want to punish people who are breaking your rules. That's why you want to drop bombs on people in order to isolate them or to stop them. There is a rampant misunderstanding of the power that others have in your experience. And so it isn't until someone comes forth, some child comes forth and says to you, you do not have the power to make me change for your benefit. You can't make me change. I am so stubbornly in constant alignment with who I am. I stand in my security and you can't make me feel bad. You cannot control my behavior with your disappointment of me. You can't control my behavior with your punishment. You can't control my behavior with your threats. You cannot control my behavior. I stand independently of that. Because if you could come to know that about everyone, if you could cease to need to control any condition in order to be in alignment with all that you want, you would be free, utterly free. And then really standing in the place that you intended when you came into this time-space reality to begin with. Not one of you intended to need to control anything that anyone else was doing. You understood that everyone gets to choose for themselves. But isn't it curious that it isn't until you have no choice that you even make an effort? Isn't it curious that until you become an utter failure at it, no matter what you try to do, isn't it interesting that someone would come forth with such strong intentionality that you cannot get them to move toward anything that you need? They will not be the object of your conditional love. They just refuse to be. And so if you could let no one be the object of your conditional love, if you could just love because you are a lover, not because they've evoked love from you, then you are source-like in your moment. Then you are free from so much of the confusion and the manipulation and the impossible control that you believe that you need. And so our encouragement to you is just for a little while, like for the rest of your life.
Does that mean I'm going soon?
No time soon. That you would pay attention when you feel the need to control someone, anyone, a politician, an economic situation, that when you feel the impulse or the need to control anything, if you will just stop and pretend for just a little while that they are as uncooperative and uncontrollable as these wonderful children are, you're going to discover a new approach to life experience that is like the source within you is living. Your source does not need you to be any specific way in order to love you. Source is not hindered by your behavior. And hear this is the key to the worthiness that you all are seeking. Because if you can discover your own ability to love unconditionally, if you can discover your own ability to need to control nothing, to just be in that power and that clarity, what's going to happen to you is, as you stand in that flow, you're going to have complete control of everything that happens in your life experience. which sounds again like a paradox. It's like us saying to you, if you don't need the condition to be any certain way and you find the unconditioned, then you're going to line up with this energy that creates world, and then you're going to get all the conditions that you want. And you say, wait a minute, why don't you just give me all the conditions that I want? Why do I have to be unconditional before I can get the conditions? And we say, because the existent condition, hear it, the existing condition is not what you're looking for. You're looking for something beyond the existing condition. The existing condition is limiting you from the more that you've already put into your vortex. So we said to you earlier, contrast is causing you to put things into your vortex. Do you accept that your vortex as an evolved, expanded version of the reality that is? And so doesn't it make perfect sense that the reality that is preventing you from the expansion that you are seeking? This all fits together. In other words, those two conversations are really one conversation. We wish for all of you completely uncooperative friends. And we wish for you to say to them, I am madly in love anyway. I'm madly in love anyway. I don't need you to be different in any way, shape, or form. I don't need you to do anything. And in this accomplishment, you will find the freedom that you've been looking for all along. The basis of your world, of your universal world, the basis of all that is freedom. You are so free you can choose bondage. Your objective is joy, to feel good. And the result is never-ending expansion. But you don't have to know any of this for the expansion to occur. It's just that choosing joy is the option for you. You can't stop your expansion, and you can't cease being free. But you can look at it in a way that feels bad, and you can look at it in a way that feels good. That's where your emphasis is, you see. So the reason that we were asking the question about the difference between your children and others is that it's easier for you relative to your children to not need them to be different in order to feel good. We like this conversation.